Good day, ladies and gents. Welcome back to the home of all things Spurs. Yeah, that's right. It's the Hotspur Hood today with question time. Later than planned, quite a lot later than planned. This is going to be a lunchtime show, but better late than never. Massive few days coming up simply and alone because the North London derby is fast approaching in just a few days' time. Could be the most interesting in years, that's for sure. Needs to be better than last season. We lost both games. It's going to be more front foot football from both sides, probably. So it is a huge game. We're going to talk plenty about the game, of course, and a lot more. Please make sure you smash the like, subscribe, notification bell, super chats are on too. This is question time. As always on question time, it's a solo show. Full interactivity. So get in a chat, have your say, and we'll get talking. What I do is I put banners up. And answer my own questions, and you answer the questions yourself in the chat. Tell me what you think and put your own questions in yourselves. First up, Perisic does his ACL. He done his ACL earlier on in the week. Is it a big miss? Is it really that much of a big miss? I haven't had the chance to talk about this. It's Tuesday's show. I got told about this straight after Tuesday's show. So I haven't had the opportunity live on streams to talk about it. So now's the perfect time. I don't know a great deal about an ACL injury in general, other than it's the knee. It's the stabilization of the knee, which is a problem. Whenever you mention the knee in football, it's an issue. One of the biggest issues. Once the knee is gone, that's it. The player's gone, and he's 33. So if it's 6 months, 7 months, which it looks like it would be a minimum 6-7 months, his Spurs career is probably done, isn't it? Ivan Perisic's career as a left winger is almost certainly done. Even if he does recover, he'll probably still play in, like, I don't know about the MLS, but maybe the MLS is too high for him as well. He'll probably play and finish up in a lower league to a certain degree. But I think it's safe to say Perisic, just a year left on his contract as it is. I think his career is done. But what do we think? Will it be a big miss for Spurs? Look, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, and he does recover from this injury sooner rather than later. But I got a funny feeling he won't, and I got a funny feeling it's Romero causing all this damage. I'm just thinking, is it Romero? Did he cause a Bentancur injury? Because I've got a funny feeling he doesn't slow down in training, even the great Kuti. But I tell you what, I'm definitely in the minority when I say I think Perisic had a decent first season. I thought he was all right last year. Okay, he didn't defend well, but who did? It was an appalling back line. You say what we want about Conte, but he never got defenders in. He never got the players he wanted in. I mean, his centre-backs were Davis, Dyer, and Romero, who wasn't that great. Perisic didn't defend great, okay. But 11 assists last season, that's a great return. In the first season as a 33-year-old coming to the Prem, that's a very good return. I said Davis, Dyer, Royal, Lloris past his prime. The goalkeeper's part of the defence as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, Lloris last season was well over the hill. But still, look, 11 assists. That is a great return. I can't believe he got that many. I thought he got 8 or 9. But 11's very good. 11's very good. I think Kane got top assist maker in the league a couple of years back with 13. So 11's good. I think 8 in the league, still very good. This season, I think Perisic would have been in his own. He would have come into his own because he'd be playing as a left winger, which was his position, has been his position for 95% of his football career, the left wing. He wouldn't have needed to keep coming back defending. Saying all this still, he shouldn't really be a big miss with the quality of players we have there. Gill, £35 million. He's had hip surgery, but apparently he's coming back. He's on the left wing. Simon was signed as a left winger, played predominantly as a left winger for Fulham. Cess, the forgotten man, Sessegnon, who I keep forgetting about. I kept forgetting about Sessegnon during the summer transfer window when I was talking about potential players we can sell or should sell. Completely forgot that Sessegnon's still a player. But he's still there. For Fulham, he was a left winger. Solomon was a left winger for Fulham. Cess was a left winger as Fulham. We ended up trying to turn him into a left back. Didn't quite work. That's an understatement. And of course, we got Richie and Son, who are more than capable at left wing. You know, Son was world class as a left winger, sort of playing inside now, playing as a striker now. But we've got plenty of numbers in there, that's for sure. But I think Perisic behind Richie and Son, let's say, was our best option on the left wing. And he is easily the best crosser of the ball. So even if he didn't start too many games this season, coming on for the final 30 minutes of the game to help see out the games with the experience he's got, or to maybe get us back in the game if we're losing because of his crossing ability, I think he would have really, really come in handy, as we've seen so far this season. I think Ange probably would have used him in that way, coming off the bench for the last few minutes. We will see. It's like anything and everything at this stage of the season. We'll have to wait and see. It's far too early. It's 6 games into this season. Let's wait for another 10 games. Let's wait for 16 games before we still start predicting whether this is a brilliant new manager, a brilliant new era at Spurs. So far, so good, but it really, really is early days. And we'll see whether this Perisic injury affects us, I'm sure. But do you know what it is? It's good in many ways, because we know that we'll see if these Levy signings that he made, £35 million, the Solomon's assesses, they'll get their chance. Will they live up to it with the regular opportunity? That's the big question. That is the big question this question time. Hopefully Solomon. My best hope is for Solomon, who's looked decent in his early Spurs career. No more than that. He looked like a good player. So we'll see plenty of Solomon now, I'm sure. Right. So what I'm going to do now is, before we get back to the questions, I'm going to put this up. This is the fixtures of the weekend for not just Spurs, of course, for the Premier League. I'm not going to go into it in a great detail. We'll get back to Spurs and the questions in a second. But it is interesting to see what upcoming games there are ahead this weekend. So as many on a Saturday as there is the Sunday. So five in each day. No Friday night kickoff, so no game tonight. Crystal Palace, Fulham, all London affair. In fact, it's probably good to look at the table first. Let's get rid of these adverts. Of course, Man City are top. We're second. We're going to talk about Arsenal later, but we're on the same points as Arsenal, same points as Liverpool. We're second. Wow. Luton, Burnley and Everton at the bottom there. Yeah. I mean, it's got to be said, we haven't beaten a team in the top 10. If you look at this top 10 here, the only team we've played in the top 10 is Fulham in the League Cup, and we lost. So this is without doubt going to be our biggest test up to this point. Arsenal on Sunday, without a shadow of a doubt, it's going to be our biggest test. And then, so let's go back and let's look at the fixtures in the Premier League. So, all London affair, Palace, Fulham, Luton, Wolves, 3 o'clock kickoff, Man City, Forest, 3 o'clock kickoff, 5:30. We then have Brentford versus Everton, 8 p.m. Burnley, Man United. Man United will look at that as they need this 3 points badly, very, very badly. They lost midweek to Bayern Munich as well, didn't they? And then Sunday, Chelsea, Villa, which should be a cracking game. Poch needs to get his boys rolling. Brighton, Bournemouth, also 2 p.m. Liverpool, West Ham, another big game, 2 p.m. Of course, the North London derby, the biggie. Again, 2 p.m., but that will be showing live, I'm sure, everywhere. And finally, Sheffield United, Newcastle. So other than Spurs versus Arsenal, the North London derby, there isn't a great deal happening. So all eyes, I think, are going to be on us. Although Chelsea Villa is going to be a cracking game. I think there's every chance Villa could finish above Chelsea again this season. I think they had a great transfer window. Out of the transfer windows, some I'm not that impressed with. Spurs was okay, but even like the Arsenals and Chelseas, which we'll get onto in a second, obviously we're going to talk in depth about Arsenal. I'm not that impressed. But, let's look around. Serie A, I love Serie A. So let's see. I haven't even looked at the fixtures. So this is the first time I'm looking at what's happening over there. Right, so there's a game getting played now in Serie A. Frosinone 1, Salernitana 0. Any big games? There's not really. Who has Harry Kane's Bayern Munich got? Bochum. So he should get on the score sheet. It's safe to say. That is, you can say what you want, but Spurs fans, including myself, we are looking at to see what Harry Kane's up to. Harry Kane mentioned it midweek as well, that he loves Spurs. He's always going to love Spurs. So he's going to take a look at what we're up to and is happy that we've started off well. I believe that. And I will, from time to time, I will be looking to see what Harry Kane's doing. I really will. Hopefully he wins a Bundesliga with him. I just hope that he never wins a game. That if we play Bayern Munich at some stage, which may not happen for a long time unless we play him in a friendly game, because I don't think we're getting into the Champions League for a long while. In fact, let's take a quick look at the Champions League. What happened this week? Let's have a look. So it was the opening round of fixtures. AC Milan 0, Newcastle 0. Oh no, was that? Oh right, yeah. That's right. Paris Saint-Germain 2, Dortmund 0. Yeah, we saw all that. Chelsea 2. Yeah, Arsenal beat PSV 4-0. Yeah, Man United lost again 4-3 to Bayern Munich. Kane scored in that one. I think it was a penalty. So slightly depressing that we're not in Europe, but it should have given us plenty of rest time for the Arsenal game. I did say on Tuesday night, I did mention on Tuesday night that there's two ways to look at it. Arsenal could pick up an injury and that'll bode well for us this Sunday, or Arsenal could win and they've got even more confidence. Okay, they won't be as fit potentially, the players, but they'll have more confidence, and they won 4-0 against PSV, who I think, they've got some good players. They've got some good players in that team. They've got Dest at left back. You know, Luke de Jong's a mug up front. He can hold the ball up. Cause defenses problems. Who did they sign on loan as well? They nicked a loan player late. I can't remember who it was. They nicked a couple of loan players late, and they're no mugs, PSV. So 4-0 is a good result for Arsenal, and they didn't travel away, did they? They stayed at the Emirates. So I think overall, they would be happier that they did play in Europe. But with our backup, and it is poor backup, it makes me happy that we did play midweek, because one injury, especially to the defence, and we're in trouble. Right, so that's from around the Prem. Let's get this down. A few people in the chat. We've got 14 people watching. Make sure you smash a like if you haven't already done so. I know this is a bit dodgy because I was supposed to stream at 1 p.m. and I advertised it for 1 p.m. But we are here with question time. So please chuck us a like if you haven't already done so. And we are on the road to 3K subs. Luca, not for now, my friend. Not for now. Don't need you on. Big Arsenal fan. He's come on this channel a lot. But on these question time streams, I do on my own. But I might be doing another little preview before the game. Maybe. The Hotspur boys are definitely going to do a show tomorrow. The Total Hotspur boys, the boys from Down Under. I think that's the show's name, Spurs Down Under. They'll be doing a 1 p.m. show, I think, tomorrow at lunchtime. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Louis K, big fan of the channel, big supporter of the channel. How you doing, my friend? Big up to T. Jacob Farrell. What's up? EMF, come on, you Spurs. How you doing, Ian? I've got to get Ian on the show again at some point. He hasn't been on for a while. Spurs Conrad, Spurs 72. Afternoon, Tommy. Hope you're doing well, my guy. All good. All is gravy. My friend. Okay, just touch on it briefly. I'll make these shows. These solo shows are pretty sporadic. I try to do it once a week, and they're pretty short. So they're all about the interactivity. So if you've got anything you want to put forward, any questions you want to put my way, or responses to some of the questions I put forward, make sure you get in the comments. Tell me what you think. So now, is top 4 a possibility this season? Because look, right, we're second. There's only 5 games in, but we are second. We're unbeaten. We're playing attacking football. A lot of people are talking about this. To be fair, a lot of people are saying we could win the title before the season started. A lot of people said we can win the title when Nuno first started and we won our first 3 games, including against Man City. People were saying we're going to challenge for the title. We ended up, I think we were 10th 8 games later, and he got sacked. So it's still very, very early days. I think that's the main thing to take from this. Some would say I'm a glass half empty fan these days, and I think you'd be right. I'd say I'm more grounded and less reactive than some Spurs fans. And I'll try to be honest when I say we're not making top 4. I don't think we're going to make top 4. I won't think any less of Ange if he doesn't make top 4. I don't think that should be his brief, and it's certainly not my brief. I'm happy with top 6. I think it would be some achievement for Ange from where we were last season, for the defence he picked up. I think top 6 would be an achievement, although he has had, I think, a better transfer window than Conte did for the majority of Conte's stay. I still think top 6 would be a great achievement, absolutely brilliant achievement from Ange. But it shouldn't be. We shouldn't be aiming for top 6, not with the abundance of resources we have. Let's face it, the finances at the club, the highest season ticket prices, shirt prices, single ticket prices went up 20%. 20% surge at the start of the season for ticket prices, not mentioning the insane money that goes on in the background, made from outside of footballing fees. Top 6 shouldn't be our brief, but I'm happy with top 6 this season. I really am. And I think you've got to say Ange's done a good job if he gets us there. It is depressing that we're in no other competitions other than now the FA Cup. We are only in the FA Cup. We got knocked out in a round that we wouldn't even been part of if it was in Europe. We wouldn't have played for them. We'd have gone straight to the next round. But yeah, no Europe, no Carabao Cup. We're in 2 trophies. We can win. There's still a chance we can win 2 trophies. One being the Premier League, which I doubt very much. As I said, I don't think we're going to get top 4. And the FA Cup that doesn't start till January. So it will be, whatever happens, it'll be 16 years without a trophy. Come the end of the season, if we can potentially win the FA Cup. Not having games midweek, there is a negative. There is still a negative to that. And that's, you want competition for places. You want rotation to keep players fresh for when they do come in. And that's why I think Ange changed the team against Fulham. He completely changed the team for if and when that takes place. Because it will take place. It's not really an if, it is a when we do get some injuries. So he tried to look at his players. I think 9 changes were too many in a Fulham game, and it proved to be because we got knocked out. But I can see why Ange done that. And I have no real hate or even criticism towards Ange for doing that. Plus, with Levy, his brief is to the league, where he ends up in the league. So again, it's all predictions, but I don't think it's toxic. A lot of people say it's toxic predicting injuries that haven't come yet. It's not really. Not when injuries are a part of football. Not when Van der Ven's almost been injured already and Romero's already been injured. I think he missed a game for Argentina. And if either one of those get injured, I think we're in the shit house. We're in big trouble. Because selling Sanchez, all we got is Dyer and Ashley Phillips. So if you're going to talk about Spurs, you're going to talk about football, you have to predict injuries and talk about injuries. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think it's negative. I don't think it's toxic. I think it's just, I just think it's real. It's the realistic events of what's going to take place. And look, we've already lost 2 players to ACLs. Two players are still out with ACLs. Hopefully Bentancur comes back, because I tell you what, the biggest positive this season, and just in general, is the quartet, the centre midfield quartet. Maddison has been absolutely magnificent. He started off so well. Bissouma started off so well. He was injured for a lot last season. And if you've got Bissouma coming back, that is competition for places right there. But it's always difficult to come back from an ACL. And that's why I think Perisic, I don't think there's much of a career left for Perisic, especially at Spurs. Haven't got that ACL this week. But the point I'm trying to make is that in 1 day, 2 days, you could pick up 2 or 3 injuries. So it's something you have to keep in your mind. But again, I'll say overall, I'm not convinced the teams around us have had good transfer windows. I was expecting better. I was expecting better from Newcastle. I was expecting Man United to get a better striker and maybe a better defender or 2 and a better keeper than Onana. I think Man United done well. I think Arsenal missed a trick, not signing a striker and maybe another centre mid instead of Havertz. Rice is fantastic, but I think Arsenal missed a trick. Nketiah, I want Spurs to play up against Nketiah on Sunday, North London derby. I'll be happy with that. I'll be more than happy with that. I don't think he's all that, to be honest with you. Chelsea, just Nicholas Jackson up top, already missing chance after chance. The same problems that Chelsea had last season are emanating this season, scoring goals. So I genuinely think the teams around us have not had that great of a window, and that's why I wouldn't be that surprised if we were to get top 6 now. Before the season started, I would have been surprised to get top 6. I wouldn't be surprised. Still, I think Ange would have done a good job. But again, everything I say, all the positives I say about this season, we have to come back and we have to look at the teams we played. We have to. Like injuries that could happen, we have to look at it. And the reality is we've played 6 games. We've won 4, drawn 1, lost 1. You've got to count the Fulham game because it's a big loss going out of the Carabao Cup. The strike forces we've come up against, the best one is Man United by a country mile, and it was Rashford, Garnacho and Anthony, which I don't think that's a great attack, to be honest with you. Burnley's, Sheffield United's, McBurney and Cameron Archer, Bournemouth's, Solanke, Brentford didn't have Tony, Visa. It's not great attacks we're coming up against, is it? Even Fulham, who beat us, it was Munoz up top. They sold Mitrovic and didn't replace another team that I don't think had a good transfer window. Fulham sold Mitrovic and they signed like Dama Traore and Munoz and Raul Jimenez. Just they sold their other centre mid as well, didn't they? Fulham. They had a bad transfer window. Aston Villa probably had the best. Man City because they signed Gvardiol. He hasn't got going yet. Doku looks good. I think Arsenal have signed some good players here and there. We'll get onto that in a second. But I'm happy with the lack of signings the teams around us have made. I really am. Our transfer window looks miles better than it should do, really. But again, early days, we'll see how Vicario, Van der Ven, and some of the other players we signed do over the course of the season because Maddison is proven. I know Maddison is going to be terrific for Spurs. He is a great signing. But the others, we don't know. We just don't know yet when the bigger tests come. Man United, we still conceded 2 against Burnley. We still got these defensive problems against not great attacks. Man United, they should have scored at least 1 or 2 against us. But I tell you what, my prediction was 7th at the start. At the start of the season, before the season started, was 7th. I think we can get 5th. But 5th at the absolute best, unless we got a chance of getting Champions League, getting top 4, if we have a remarkably good January window. I know we're a long, long way away from the January transfer window. But I think the second half of the season is when you're really, really going to get injuries. So you need to make sure you get the right players in. And we still need players. We need centre-backs in January. We need 3 centre-backs this window. We got 1. So if we can have a good January window, who knows? And we're still around 5th position going into January. There's a chance we get top 4. I just personally don't think we can get there, and I don't think it's a real possibility. This talk about title challenges, nah. If we get top 4, we'll get in by the skin of our teeth. Skin of our nose, I should say. Skin of our teeth. That's how I see it going. Right. Let's take a look at what people are saying before we get onto the last couple of segments. Conrad, PSV had 2 major injuries. I think they didn't play as well versus the scum. They've got some decent players, though, PSV. When I was looking at them, I do feel like they had some decent loan players that come in last minute. I mean, the back 4 especially was really good. I mean, I want to look at the team they put out. It was stronger than I expected because recently, PSV has sold a lot of players. Look, they're a selling club. They don't have a great deal of money these days. Used to be big. They never used to worry about signing players. But it was quite dominant. Yeah, 4-0. Raya started again. They got Lang on the left, who's very good. Verman. Oh, Bella Kotchap, the Southampton centre-back, who was linked with a lot of clubs. He was linked with Man City as well. Bosch-Hagley is a very good centre-back. Sergio Dest. They actually got a good defence, PSV. They had a really good defence, but got Lozano on the bench. He's a very good player from Napoli. It was, Arsenal beating them 4-0 was a good result, really. But they didn't rest too many players either, did they? I think they played the exact same team they played Everton with on Sunday. Raya in goal, Gabriel Saliba. I didn't watch all of the game last night. I didn't watch any of the game last night. Wednesday night, I should say, when Arsenal beat them. But I did watch the Everton game. I wanted to do a scouting mission to see how they've done. They've done okay. They scraped the Everton game like we did Sheffield United, to be quite honest. But it is the exact same team. Oh, no. They didn't start Havertz in the Everton game. Odegaard, Rice. Who started against Everton? It wasn't Havertz. Havertz came on for him. And Martinelli was injured as well. That could bode well for us, the fact that Martinelli's injured. Trossard scored a really good goal in the Everton game, but he didn't play well. So I'd much rather play against Trossard than Martinelli. And, of course, Nketiah started. So there were a few changes, 3 changes from Everton to PSV, and they still won a clean sheet. Their defence is very good. Arsenal's defence is very, very good. That's for sure. I'll be happy top 6, Dexter says. Who's that down to, though? He's had a better transfer window because he wanted Van der Ven, Maddison, Johnson. Conte wanted Richarlison. He rejected Maddison, rejected Ericsson, rejected every centre-back. So you think he rejected every centre-back for Longley? The last statement, absolutely, I don't agree with. Did he want Richarlison? I don't think he wanted Richarlison. I think Richarlison was without a shadow of a doubt a Levy signing for me. And it's turned out that way. He was the heir to Harry Kane leaving. And he has become the heir of Harry Kane leaving. We had Kulusevski, we had Kane, and we had Son. Richarlison was playing backup. Conte would have wanted a creative centre midfielder, not Maddison. That's true. I don't think he would have wanted Maddison. He wanted a deep creative midfielder, like he did at all his clubs previously. At Italy and Juventus, in his first spell, he had Pirlo, one of the best deep creative midfielders there ever was, or ever has been. At Chelsea, where he won the Premier League and the FA Cup in his 2 years there, last manager to win the Premier League, in fact, at Chelsea, 7 years ago now. He put Fabregas into that role, deep creative midfielder. At Inter, he had Brozovic as his deep creative midfielder. At Spurs, he didn't get a deep creative midfielder at all. He didn't just not get Maddison. He didn't get any deep creative midfielder that can ping the balls, which he wanted, definitely, because he's had it at every club in the past. That's why we know he wanted it. And there's no way the centre-backs he was happy with was Dyer, Davis and Romero and Sanchez. There's absolutely no way. A manager of that class who's won everything wouldn't look at that defence and say, we can do things with that defence. Conte went for the money. He went there for the money. He took the 350 grand a week to a small club, because we are a small club. Not in terms of finances, but in terms of what we win. We're a small club. So there's no pressure on Conte. Takes a 350 grand, got us into top 4, which I don't think many managers would have done. He goes. Didn't care about Spurs. Didn't even move to England. Didn't get the players he wanted. It's as simple as that. I think these players probably suit Postecoglou more. I don't think Johnson's a Postecoglou signing, really. We lost Harry Kane. We signed a right winger. We've already got Kulusevski, Solomon, other players that can play on the right wing. Johnson is another Levy signing for me. Van der Ven, centre-back. Yeah. I mean, we got rid of Longley. Longley's loan spell expired. We needed 2 or 3 for me. So, and the link with Van der Ven and Maddison, both were being negotiated when Postecoglou didn't even take charge. So I certainly reject the last one. He didn't reject every centre-back. What centre-backs did he reject? Did he reject Vardia? Did he reject Bastoni? It's the only centre-back we were really linked with. Bastoni, who won the Serie A title with Conte. Did you reject Bastoni? No, Bastoni rejected us. A lot of centre-backs rejected us. So I don't think Conte rejected centre-backs and said, do you know what? The one I want is the player that can't get into Barcelona's team. I want Longley. That's the man I want. No. Conte, we didn't get the players Conte wanted. It's as simple as that. I don't think we've got all the players Postecoglou wanted. We'll find out in due course. We'll find out in the next few months. Five games is far too early. What did you think of the Levy-Bloomberg interview? See, I've got scraps of the interview, and then when I see it, I just turn my nose up at it, to be honest with you. I felt the pressure. I felt it's just crying. I just see it as crying. I felt the pressure, this, that, and the other. We took the wrong direction. After we lost Pochettino, we went with winners instead. When it comes back to my point, you didn't sign winning players. Richarlison is not who Conte wanted, because Richarlison never won anything. He come from a relegation-bound team in Everton. Even Basuma. I don't think Basuma was the centre mid he wanted last season. Basuma was signed because he was cheap at £25 million, because he was going through this court case in his contract running out next season. In this system, Basuma works perfectly. In Conte's, not so much. Conte would have wanted a Brozovic, a Ward-Prowse. They would have fit perfectly into the Brozovic system. Only history tells you this. So he's saying that he got the managers wrong after Poch. He wanted instant winning managers. And then he sacked Jose before a Carabao Cup final. Yeah. It's bollocks, isn't it, really? There's nothing else you can say about it. It's complete bollocks. If you want to win things, and you claim you want to win things, you're as desperate as the fans, then you won't go 500 days without signing a player. That's a record, Premier League record. I think it was 3 transfer windows. Actually, we signed Shiloh Tracy from Ebbsfleet in one of the transfer windows. So it was 2.5. We didn't sign a player. That's a record, Premier League record for any team. I think that shows you the ambition Levy had, is to save money. Now he's crying a little bit. He can say, I've got a magnificent manager, Ange, because he won his first 5 games or first 4 games, and everything's great again. We'll see. We'll see over the season. I'm happy with this unbeaten start. I'm happy that we're playing a more attacking vein, but there are big questions ahead. And that is, let's come up against one good attack, because we haven't. The best attack we've come up against is Rashford, Garnacho and Anthony. And let's see how the defence holds up there. Let's see how we hold up against the big boys. If they start Havertz in midfield, we should play through the middle. Really, our midfield has more power and pace. Absolutely. Who did they start in place of Havertz on the weekend against Everton? I can't remember. It wasn't Jorginho either. I can't remember, but they started someone else. But I'd be happy with Havertz in midfield. I'd be happy coming up against that, although Odegaard is a very good player. Rice is a very good player. Very, very good player. Rice gets a lot of stick. Maddison's a better signing than Rice. I think Maddison will probably be the signing of the season, if not one of the signings of the season, regardless. But it's no good comparing Declan Rice to Maddison. Two completely different players. And Declan Rice, let's face it, he come from a club that nearly won the league last season. Let Maddison come from a club that got relegated. So the prices, and he's 3 years younger, 3 or 4 years younger. So the prices are going to be different. Very, very different players. I think we've done magnificently. Our transfer window alone with Maddison makes it a very good window for me. Top signing. Big up Tommy in the chat. Robbie, what's happening, my friend? How you doing? How you doing? Right. Finally, of course, there aren't too many people watching today. I know it's a weird time. We're supposed to stream earlier. Are we up to 10 likes even? It'd be wonderful. We're on 13 likes. Get us up to 15. Get us up to 20. That would be magnificent. If you can end the show on 20 likes, it'd be really, really good. Keeps the channel rolling if you keep smashing that like. And of course, it is free. And subscribe if you haven't done so already. Tuesday night show was very good. If you haven't watched it, it was a lot of fire, a lot of debate. We had lots of guests on. We do that every Tuesday at 8 p.m. So if you haven't watched that yet, make sure we do. We had Johnny, we had Stel, we had Daigle, big names in the Spurs community. Danny, who's fantastic. Mr. Box Office came on. So yeah, watch Tuesday show if you haven't. It was a good one. And that'll be coming up every Tuesday night. Right. Finally, it is a big one. This is the talk of the town. And everything I'm talking about today basically moves into this topic, moves into this segment. So can we turn North London white once more? To be fair, if it is red, it's only briefly been red anyway, hasn't it? Well, at least in terms of the league. I don't think Arsenal qualified for the Champions League for 6 years, something like that. We didn't qualify for 2 or 3 years, but still, in terms of league positions, the North London was white, that's for sure. But last season changed things for definite. They beat us twice and they nearly won the league. They should have won the league. So last things changed. And to be fair, they've won 4 FA Cups over the last decade. When we were, finishing above them in the league, they won 4 FA Cups. What's a more determining factor? How many trophies you win or where you finish in the league? We know Levy, it's where you finish in the league. For me, it's a bit of both. For me, I want to get to the top 4. I think that shows that you're a very good team if you get into the top 4. But then I want to sign top 4 players and then fight for the title and then win trophies around it. But we never did. We're not interested in winning trophies. Keep coming back to it. We sacked the manager a week before the final. Right. Okay. Transfer window comparison between Spurs and Arsenal. I'm not going to put any funky visuals up. Just off the top of my head. Havertz, which is their weakest signing for me by far. Although he's not going to be playing in the same role that he did at Chelsea. The fact that Chelsea had to play him up top just goes to show how poor Chelsea have managed things in the transfer window. Havertz was a cam for Leverkusen when he was good. Centre mid and a cam. Arsenal are putting him back there. Still, weakest of their signings for sure. Timber, very, very good player coming from a good Ajax side. But he's got injury. Got a big, big injury. He backed up their centre-backs. Declan Rice, very good signing for them. David Raya, weird signing because they've got Ramsdale. But he is a good keeper and 2 clean sheets in 2 games. Him coming up against him is going to be weird. Especially like if he saves a penalty and they win 2 or 3-0. Because he was our first target this summer, wasn't he, Raya? I think Raya's a good signing. I don't think he's a great keeper. I didn't want him at Spurs. He's not like the first keeper I wanted. I was disappointed that we didn't get him because we weren't willing to pay an extra 5 or 10 million pounds. Regardless of Vicario, this is before we signed Vicario. We should get our targets regardless of 5-10 million pounds. We've made that mistake in the past with the Grealishes, Bruno Fernandes, Skriniar, even the Manes. A couple of million in it. We've rejected the deals. So yeah, our signings: Vicario, Van der Ven looks good. Looks good. There are some faults with his game, Van der Ven. Slow of thinking. Slow of mind, but very, very fast physically. But it's still early days. He's young. He's going to need time to adapt, not just because of his youth, but because this is a Premier League. Maddison, I don't think a Spurs player has hit the ground running as good as he has early on. He's perfect, quite frankly, exactly what we need. The issue with Maddison being so good is look who the backup is if he's not there. We saw it against Fulham. Lo Celso comes in. Lo Celso doesn't look like he wants to be there. He really doesn't. That's why injury is going to be such a big thing. Solomon on a free. I would have preferred a right winger, but to be fair, we did sign a right winger in Brennan Johnson. We didn't sign a replacement for Kane. We didn't sign an actual number 9. In fact, we don't have an actual number 9 in the entire squad, unless you count for Liz, who's on the bench for under-21s. Son probably will play as a number 9 this season. Richarlison plays as a number 9 for Brazil, although the majority of his career played in the left for Everton. So that was a big failure in the transfer window. But just comparing, I'm very happy Arsenal signed Havertz in front of a better centre mid. I don't think Ray is the best goalkeeper, and they should have signed a striker for Nketiah. And he just got injury. So they made big mistakes. Overall, I think this is similar. If Timber stayed fit, I'd say they had a better transfer window. Timber, Rice, and Raya. Only Maddison really proven for us. But they didn't have a great transfer window. I don't think we had a great transfer window. We needed to sign another centre-back and a number 9 as far as I'm concerned. Again, like the Perisic injuries in general, and of course the transfer which I'm talking about now, only time will tell. Only time will really tell. Maddison and Rice are the 2 biggest signings, both outstanding. It'll be really interesting to see what they do because they're going to come up against each other as well. Maddison and Rice. Maddison playing that cam position and Rice playing a deep centre mid-row position, which is basically where Maddison's going to be a lot of the time. Rice probably going to play a bit more attacking than he did at West Ham in centre midfield, but they will be coming up against each other. And Rice is going to be coming up against Bissouma. Odegaard's going to be coming up against Bissouma. The battle is going to be the centre midfield. Whoever wins the centre midfield battle will probably win this game, I think. I do think that. So a similar transfer window. Yeah. I'm happy they sold Xhaka as well. We both signed experienced players. And you've got to remember, we sold our greatest ever player. They didn't really sell anyone of value other than Xhaka. We sold one of our greatest ever players. So we've lost 30 goals. But yeah, I'm shocked. I don't think they had a great window. I don't think there's a player in either team that's capable of scoring 20 goals, to be honest. I really, really don't. I think Son 3 years ago, could get golden boot with Kane behind him. I think Son 2 years ago with Maddison as a cam could have scored the goals that he scored to get golden boot. I don't think he can 2 years later. I think that pace that he had is dwindled like it does with all players. I don't think he can get you 20 goals. But if we share it around, if we can get 10 from Kulu, 10 from Maddison, 10 from Son, it won't be as big of a deal, to be honest with you. But we have lost a big-time striker, and I do think we'd only be a better side with Kane in it. Some are saying, no, we needed him out. Again, we'll see. We'll see over the coming weeks. It's very similar to the Sheffield United game. And I'll tell you what, that Sheffield United game really, really gives us momentum going into this game. Had we scored the first goal against Sheffield United, they got level, then we scored a goal to win it at the end, it wouldn't be as much momentum. But the fact that we looked down and out, and we've been in that position many times before, we were 1-0 down and we ended up not even getting a point. To come back in injury time and then to get the winner in injury time, again, it only serves us well. Momentum will definitely be on our side. But you've got to look at that Arsenal defence, and it's not moving. It's the same defence week in, week out, and it was the same defence for the majority of last season. Zinchenko, White, Saliba, and Gabriel. White is actually a very, very good right back defensively. Very, very good. Starting to move the ball up there as well. We've got a better attacking right back in Porro, that's for sure. But defensively, definitely not so much. Udogie, again, very, very good attacking. Hasn't come up against a good defence. Zinchenko, the opposite. Good attacking, really, really good defensively. But I think our fullbacks are better, more attacking, at least than Arsenal's. But Saliba, for me, is in the top 5 of centre-backs in the world, I think. I think at Marseille, he was unbelievable. I think he got in the Liga team of the season, which is very difficult at Marseille. And then last season, it was just terrific for Arsenal. Whenever I watch him play, he's so good. Very different to Romero, not as aggressive, but much more solid. Very good in the air. So that's going to be another big one. That's going to be another battle. Romero versus Saliba on corner kicks. We're going to see that battle. It'd be very, very interesting. I tell you what, Romero scored 2 goals from corners already this season, which is mad. So it's got to be a big battle. It's got to be one of the most anticipated North London derbies for a very, very long time. I feel like I say that every show. Every show that we sort of do a preview for the upcoming derbies, especially the Arsenal game, this is going to be the biggest one yet. But it is big one. This is the most attacking Spurs have been for a few years, that's for sure. And this is as good as Arsenal have been for a very long time. So it's huge. It's huge. Yeah. Howell, Adogi, Vicario, VDV, even Sarr, very, very young players. Very, very young players. How are they coping in the North London derby? This is the time. This is the first real test, the acid test for what these players have made of on both sides. On both sides. I think with Arsenal at home, they have to be considered favourites. Talking about predicted results now, if I'm going to give my prediction. They have to be considered favourites. They're at home. 13 years. We haven't beat them at the Emirates for 13 years. To be honest with you, historic records don't mean a great deal to me, historic records. Really doesn't. Hopefully it's our lucky number, 13. It's one of those games where we could be torn apart 3-0 and we could tear them apart 3-0. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 3-0 either way. I really wouldn't. And it is very, very similar. We've played similar teams this season. They've played slightly better teams than us, but we both beat Man United. We're both on 13 points and unbeaten from a potential 15 points. So both coming in with confidence. I'm going to be a little bit boring, but I've got to be honest. If there was a score I'm going to predict, I'd probably say a draw, or they'll nick it. But I can never predict a loss for Spurs. So I'll say we're going to win 3-1. I will say we're going to win 3-1. One thing is for sure, I can't wait for the game to get going. I can't wait for 2:00 Sunday to have a few beers and to see what happens, to see the game delivered. It would be nice to be able to watch it live without watching a scrappy stream as well, because I haven't. The first 2 weeks I was on holiday, so I missed the games. Since it's just been on scratchy stream, so I can actually watch it live, chill out, and hopefully watch a Spurs victory. I really wouldn't be surprised if it went either way, and if it went to a big goal margin either way, because both teams can attack. We know that both teams can attack. Right, as I said, yes, today is going to be a very short stream. I think we're gonna wrap things up there. In fact, I think we'll wrap things up there. Let's have a look. Come on, please smash a like before you go. Please smash a like before you go. It is 19 likes. One more for 20. Give us 20 likes. One more for 20. It'd be very, very gladly appreciated if you could do that. I know it's a weird time. Lots of other people streaming. So I thank you for joining me today. I do thank you for joining me today. Stixie, evening. We just come a little bit too late. Actually, we come in 10 minutes ago. 3-1 to us. Take a picture. I would go for that. Is that what you're predicting as well? Or are you joshing me? Or are you joshing me, Conrad? Big up, Conrad, by the way. So yeah, thanks for joining me. And as always, stay safe, stay free, stay classy, Little Whites. Come on, you Spurs. Let's smash the Reds and take over. Take over North London once more. Peace out.